The Gaza Strip, a densely populated Palestinian territory, has been a focal point of conflict for decades. Ruled by Hamas since 2007, Gaza has experienced recurrent violence and humanitarian crises. The root cause is the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, marked by disputes over land, security, and political recognition. The situation remains highly volatile, with recent events highlighting the fragility of ceasefires and the dire humanitarian situation. Israel maintains tight control over Gaza's borders, airspace, and coastal waters, citing security concerns. This blockade severely restricts the movement of goods and people, impacting daily life in Gaza. The humanitarian situation is further compounded by poverty, unemployment, and limited access to essential services like healthcare and education. The international community remains divided on the conflict, with some supporting Israel's right to self-defense and others criticizing its blockade of Gaza. Meanwhile, the people of Gaza continue to endure the harsh realities of living in a perpetual state of conflict and humanitarian crisis. In a glimmer of hope amidst the ongoing tensions, Israel and Hamas conducted a prisoner exchange on February 27, 2025. Israel released an undisclosed number of Palestinian prisoners, while Hamas handed over the bodies of 4 Israeli captives. This exchange, while significant, followed a period of heightened uncertainty and broken promises. Just the previous week, Israel had backtracked on an agreement to release 620 Palestinian prisoners. Hamas accused Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu of deliberately sabotaging the ceasefire by halting the prisoner release. The group insisted that the release of all 620 Palestinians was a non-negotiable condition for continuing ceasefire talks. This fragile truce, brokered after a recent escalation in violence, seemed on the verge of collapse. Despite the prisoner exchange, the ceasefire remains precarious. Hamas has warned of renewed hostilities if Israel fails to uphold its end of the agreement. The situation highlights the deep mistrust between the two sides and the challenges in achieving a lasting peace. Beyond the immediate concerns of the conflict, Gaza is grappling with a dire humanitarian crisis. The most vulnerable, particularly children, bear the brunt of this crisis. Tragically, at least 6 children succumbed to freezing temperatures between February 25th and 26th. Israel's blockade, which restricts the entry of construction materials, has severely hampered the rebuilding efforts, leaving many families exposed to the elements in makeshift shelters. The situation is nothing short of heartbreaking. Reports emerged of at least 4 infants dying from hypothermia. Parents struggle to keep their children warm and fed as they face a shortage of basic necessities. The international community has expressed concern, but concrete action to alleviate the suffering remains limited. Despite the challenging conditions, children in Gaza returned to school on February 25th. However, many found themselves in damaged classrooms, a stark reminder of the recent conflict. The psychological toll on these children, who have lived through years of war and instability, is immeasurable. The international community's response to the Gaza crisis has been mixed. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, recently revoked a Biden-era policy linking arms sales to international law. This decision, criticized by human rights groups, raises concerns about potential abuses and further escalation in the region. Meanwhile, the International Criminal Court faces pressure over its investigation into alleged war crimes committed in the occupied Palestinian territories. Germany's stance on the ICC warrant against Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu for alleged war crimes has drawn criticism. The German government stated that Netanyahu would be welcome to visit Germany, despite the warrant, prompting the ICC to reiterate that states cannot determine the validity of its decisions. The international community's divided response underscores the complexity of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. While diplomatic efforts continue, a lasting solution seems elusive. In the meantime, the people of Gaza continue to suffer, caught in the crossfire of a conflict that has spanned generations.